Hello, my miraculous friend, and welcome to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. This is Reverend Francis Faden, and I am so grateful that we get to spend this time together helping you to magnify your miracles. So, I'm going to be sharing a real life healing miracle that I experienced through Mother Mary and through having my connection with her and having my ongoing relationship with her and putting myself again and again in her presence. And it's the thing that I highly recommend that you do. Whether you connect specifically with Mother Mary, whatever your spiritual path is, it's so important to be in the energy and be in that presence. Now, for me, that energy is Mother Mary. And I've told you many, many times, what I call Mother Mary, I've come to learn is actually the field of unconditional love, that everything that's in the invisible world comes from that field. And then we come into the visible world. We're supposed to experience that. And then I believe that we go back to that energy of the field of unconditional love. So it makes sense to me that while we're here in a body, we put ourselves in that field of energy as much as possible. And that's why people go on pilgrimage. And that's why people, do these things to go to these sacred sites, and they have relics and different things that they do. Why? Because they're trying to connect with that energy, that frequency of those high beings, those people who attain a high level of consciousness. And you can still feel the energy when you go to these sacred places. Well, you can spend a lot of time and energy and you can go to these sacred places, or you can just go to the source, which is what I love doing both. But that's what I'm recommending is go to the source directly, connect directly with Mother Mary's energy. So I'm going to share with you today one of many, 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 many stories I can share with you of miracles that have happened for me. This particular one is a healing miracle that is verified by a doctor. And it happened to me 2017, I think it was 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. I think it was 2017. And it was so powerful. And I'd never experienced anything like that before, but it happened because I put myself in her presence. And I'm going to tell you how I did it. And this was after several other miraculous things happened through Mother Mary and through having this relationship with her, which every person can have. Everybody can have this deep connected relationship with her. All you have to do is want it and then do something to move yourself in that direction. And I'm going to share with you something that you can do if you want to do some of the things that I have done. But before we get into any of that, before I get carried away, let me take a deep breath, and you take a deep breath with me. Breathing in the energy of expansion, breathing out anything you no longer need, just giving ourselves a moment to connect in with our hearts and to feel that divine presence loving us and supporting us so much right now. And knowing that whatever you need to hear to move yourself powerfully forward is exactly what you're going to be hearing. Let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude, and we can begin. All right, so I'm so excited to share this story with you. I don't think I've shared this one with you. I've shared a couple of other ones, but this is a real story that happened to me in my own healing journey. So I had been seeing an Ayurvedic doctor. She's a doctor, but she practices Ayurveda. And I just started seeing her for some physical challenges I was having. But every time she would read my pulse, so an Ayurvedic doctor, they put their hands like there, kind of like an acupuncturist does. They put their hand on your wrist, their fingertips are on your wrist, and they're feeling your pulse. Now they're feeling your physical pulse, but they're also feeling for your energetic pulse. And she would feel my pulse, and she would tell me the usual things about my liver or whatever she was talking to me about. But then she'd always say to me, there's something in the energy of your heart. There's like a dip. And I said, my physical heart? She's like, no, not your physical heart, your emotional heart, your energy heart. And I was like, okay, it made sense to me because I know that, having my father die when I was 3, I knew that I had grief and other things that were probably still in there, even though I've done a lot of work. So it didn't surprise me that she said that, but after I'd seen her for a while, she was kind of like, and she gave me some herbs and some different things, and they helped a little bit, but it was always still kind of there. And she would check me out. And even on days where she'd be like, your liver's doing great and everything else, she'd be like, there's still a little something going on there. So I just kind of was like, I guess that's the way I am. And then somebody told me because this was right after we had moved here to Pennsylvania, somebody had told me about an icon of Mother Mary. And this icon was what they call an active icon. Now, for those of you who don't know, in the Orthodox Church, they have this beautiful, amazing traditions of painting these icons of religious figures like Mother Mary and Jesus and Archangel Michael. And they have a very specific way that they do that. But the whole point of the icon is that the icon is a portal. It acts as a gateway to spirit. So when people are not venerating the portal, the piece of wood that's painted, they're connecting with the energy that's coming through there. So it reminded me a lot of when we were in India and they would have these statues. It wasn't about the statue. They would venerate the statue in such a way that it became alive. It actually, they could feel the energy and the presence of the divine. And when we went to India in 2006, we actually felt that. It was really very powerful. So I was familiar with this idea, but in the Orthodox Church, from what I understand, and if you're an Orthodox and you want to correct me, please do. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. But when an icon is active, what that means is it's actually producing a holy oil. It's producing myrrh. It just comes from the icon and it drips down the front of it. And I had heard of this before. If for those of you who remember, when I first learned about when Mother Mary first knocked on my door, let's put that in 2012. One of the ways that she did it was my teacher, Reverend Jane, had visited an icon of Mother Mary that was Our Lady of Perpetual Healing. And Jane would tell the story of the icon being on the stand, and all of a sudden, like all this oil just started emanating from it, and there was nothing around it. It just is happening because there's something metaphysical. There's something that we can't understand. And it's not producing the oil that the icon is made on a piece of wood. Is it the oil from the wood? No, it's not. And it's copious amounts. It's not just like a little bit of a trickle. So Jane was able to get cotton swabs soaked in this beautiful holy oil. And she put together a little bundle that she sent out to people that were purchasing it. And it was oil and a little picture of the icon and a prayer and a CD and something like that. So I ordered it because I love a good story and I wanted to hear more about miracles. And so I'd had that cotton swab with that holy oil. Now, the thing is, the holy oil is actually myrrh, but it smells a little bit like roses, which I thought was very interesting. So that was about 6 weeks or 8 weeks before I had my visitation with Mother Mary in 2012. So I knew a little bit about the icon thing. And so this person had told me, oh, there's an active icon here in Pennsylvania. And it's called the Cardiotissa. Cardiotissa means the tender heart of Mary. And I was like, where is it? I want to go. We're going. I said to Deepa, we're going. And this was in September, I think, of that same year. And so she told us how it worked. You go on a Wednesday and it's St. George's, I think is the name of it, St. George's in Taylor, Pennsylvania. And from my understanding, that icon is still active, meaning she still produces oil. I would check with the church. I haven't been there in a few years to see. I'm not sure what happened during COVID, if it was still active or not. But I know she goes quiet during Lent, which I find fascinating. She doesn't produce nearly as much oil. And then as soon as Lent is over, boom, she starts producing this oil, which in and of itself is fascinating. So I go online and I look and I find this story of somebody that had a really bad heart condition, and the Cardiotissa, which is the sacred, it's this beautiful, it's the tender heart of Mother Mary. This icon healed this person who has had, heart disease or whatever it was. And there was countless story after story. If you look it up, Cardiotissa, Taylor, PA, you'll see that there's miracle stories after miracle stories after miracle stories of people being healed. And I was like, I'm going. I totally have to go. So we went, and it's this, on the outside, it's just a humble, beautiful, Eastern Orthodox, beautiful church. And as soon as you walk in, I was like, oh, she's here. I could feel it. I was like, oh, she's here. I knew, because I know Divine Mother's energy. I know Mother Mary's vibration. I was like, oh, I can feel it. She's here. So we go in, and the church is covered. It's not a very big church, but it's gorgeous. And it's got these beautiful icons all covering the wall. The iconography is amazing. And we're just looking around, and it's just so incredible. And the service starts at 6. And they start doing the prayers. And a lot of the prayers are sung, which I love. I wish all the prayers were sung. And they start singing the beautiful prayers. And the head, I'm going to assume it's a priest, goes in the back and brings out this beautiful wooden case that's got a glass cover on it, and takes out the icon and sets her on the stand. And she's got all this cotton at the bottom of her because it's just covered in oil. And as soon as they brought her out, you can smell the beautiful, to me, it smelled like roses, beautiful smell. And they start doing their Wednesday night service in honor of Mother Mary. And they're singing and singing these beautiful ancient songs, which I loved. And then towards the end of the actual service, there was this one particular priest that was the one that was handling the icon, and he starts going out, into the audience, into the congregation, I guess. And he just kind of went, and he would hold her up, and you could, have a piece of the oil or a drop of the oil drip on your finger. And so he came over to our side, and I was able to receive some of the oil on my finger, and I immediately put it on my chest. I just was praying the whole time, please, Mother Mary, please let me experience this. And I put a drop of it on my chest, and immediately I just felt like, wow, this energy of my heart just went like, bah, like it opened. And I felt so joyful. I started to cry, but good cry. Like I just had these tears come down, and I was like, oh, I could feel it. I was like, I felt her presence. I felt that energy of just being with her. I felt the healing happening. And I felt this indescribable joy that I'd never felt before. My heart just seemed wide open, like it had never, ever been, as if I would never be angry or upset with a person on the planet ever again. Like it just felt like there was nothing that could touch the depth of the love and the depth of the joy that I felt. And I was just beyond myself. I was just like, that was amazing. And then, of course, the whole rest of the service went on, and you could actually go up and receive a blessing. They had several different priests up there, and they'd put a little oil on your forehead and, give you a little card, and just beautiful, beautiful. And then Deepa and I were driving home. So it's, it was a bit of a drive. It's like it was a 2-hour drive there, a 2-hour drive back. And we're driving home, and I'm driving, and I'm just kind of like my mind is kicking in, right? This is what happens. My mind is kicking in, and I'm like, so I said to Deepa, you didn't see anything like underneath that icon, right? There was no tube of oil, like there's nothing happening. And she was like, no, there was nothing there. She's like, because she's skeptical like I am. She's like, she went around, she's like, I looked all around it. She's like, it was just there. It just was there. And, we were able to go up to it after the service and be with it and venerate it and all of that. And so my mind starts kicking in, and I was like, did I just experience a miracle? I mean, I had that, I was like, was that really what it was? Because the logical mind cannot wrap itself around miracles. It just can't. It's almost like if we were looking at a ladder, like your mind is here and miracles are way up here. And your mind has a hard time making that jump. That's why your mind, the great masters say, you're not going to get there through your mind. Thinking is not the thing that brings us the truth of who we are. That leap between what we can understand and what's actually happening, the mind is like, what is it? So by the time we got home, 2 hours later, I could feel my mind trying to talk me out of this miracle and being like, do you think she knew that we were coming? Do you think that, like, what do you think? I was like, what actually happened? And I still felt that energy that just was just like, oh my God, this beautiful, beautiful healing vibration. So we get home and there's a package at our doorstep. And I'm like, who sent us a package? So here I am having this experience with Mother Mary, a little bit of doubt creeping in, and then there's a package and it's from two of my best friends who live in Minnesota. Pick up the package, go inside the house. Now, they didn't know where I went. They didn't know anything, right? My friends send me a package. And lo and behold, I open it up, and this is the book that's staring at me as soon as I open this box. Miracles of Mary. Miracles of Mary. This is the book right on the top. And I was like, she is so funny. She's like, if you have any doubt about what just happened, I'm sending you a telegram. I'm sending you confirmation to say, guess what? That was a miracle. So that's not the end of the story. It's almost the end of the story, but it's not the end of the story. So then a couple weeks later, I go for my appointment with my Ayurvedic doctor. And I didn't tell her anything. I didn't say one thing. I'm so curious because I have that skeptical mind. It's like, did I make this up? What happened? So she'll go in. How are you doing? Tell her how I'm doing. She reads my pulse. And I can see she's got a little bit of a puzzled look on her head. She says, well, that's interesting. I said, what's interesting? She said, well, your energy feels pretty good. I said, yeah, how's my heart doing? She's like, I don't feel that dip in your energy anymore. I don't feel the dip in your heart. And I was like, I know. I told her, I know. And then I told her what happened. And she was like, wow, that's amazing. But I was like, there it was. I had verified proof from a doctor who had no idea that that energy that I had had my whole life, which I'm just going to call heartache. I had a heartache, or you could call it grief, or you can call it a little bit of a broken heart, like whatever you want to call it. I had had that my whole freaking life that I could remember, always in the background, even on my happiest days. Just a little bit of that lingering sadness was there. And then after that, nope, no more. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't had other things in my life that have come up that have been sad things. And, yes, absolutely. But do I have that thing in the background that's kind of always there? Nope, I don't. Healed. How did it happen? Being in the presence of Mother Mary. Now, the thing is, I felt it as soon as I walked into that temple. Boom. I walked into the temple and I'm like, oh, she's here. I could feel it. I knew it. And I had been praying and I had been asking and saying to Mother Mary, I really would love to feel your presence and I would love to have this healing. Now, I didn't say heal my heart specifically because I didn't have that level of awareness of what could even happen. And I also had a little bit of skepticism going in, like what's actually happening here. But I did pray and I did ask. And I believe that if you ask Divine Mother, she hears what you're saying. But the challenge is most of us, we ask, and then we never put ourselves in a situation where we can hear the response. We never put ourselves in that vibration. At least most of us don't. Or by the time you put yourself in that vibration, you forgot what you asked and you don't remember that she's actually answering you. So this is why, for me, I think one of the most important things you can do is be in a situation where you can connect with Mother Mary. Be in her presence as much as you possibly can. That's why I have my membership. That's why I have the inner circle. Now, I'm going to say, if you really want to deepen your connection with Mother Mary, I invite you to think about joining Mother Mary's inner circle. Once a month, you get to be in her presence. Once a month, you get to ask a question and hear her answer. And if you're not clear about what her answer is, you can ask a clarifying question. It's extraordinary. I've never heard of this. When Mother Mary asked me to do this, I was like, really? You can do that? Apparently, you can do that. And She tells me over and over again how much she loves connecting and working with people one-on-one like that. It's just something, I've been working with her energy and I've been channeling her for now 12 years. And I can tell you, I know her energy. I know different ways that she manifests, but she is overjoyed when she gets to commune with us directly. And if you think about it, look how many times she's manifested on the planet, over and over and over and over. Every freaking day of the year you can look it up, and there's a day that Mother Mary has manifested. And it's even more than that, probably twice a day. She has come over and over because she wants to connect with us, because she wants to commune with us, because she wants us to have that kind of divine access. So if it's something that you feel called to do, which who doesn't feel called to do that, in my opinion, you can go to my website, francisfaden.com/inner circle. There's only 3 spots. The inner circle is limited to 6 people. That's why we call it the inner circle. It's limited to 6 people. Why? Because it's not just messages, it's dialogue. That's the difference. It's a big difference between getting a message and having a conversation and having dialogue. So I can't do that with, 25, 30 people, but I can do it with 6 people. So we limit it to 6 people. We have only 3 spots left, and we start on June 6th, 2024, which is the new moon. Getting you ready right before the solstice. And Mother Mary is also bringing not only a message from her, but she is bringing some of her favorite people to be with you, to support you. June, it's going to be St. Anthony of Padua, one of my patron saints, helping you find what feels lost. July, going to be St. Mary Magdalene, helping you own and step into your power. That means that you can ask them questions too. You can say, Mother Mary, I have this question. You can answer from Mother Mary. You can get an answer from St. Anthony, St. Mary Magdalene, St. Hildegard of Bingen, St. Francis of Assisi, and Archangel Uriel, all of them. And they get you perfectly set up for the holiday season and for the New Year vibration. To me, it's kind of a no-brainer that it seems like if you want to have more miracles of Mary in your life, that you would want to connect with her in this way. So special and so intimate. So that's my real life healing story. And it's one of many, many miracles that I've experienced just by being in her presence. Now, you may have something dramatic happen like I did, or you may have something dramatic happen in the way that you need to have it happen. But even more important than the drama, which who doesn't love dramatic things? Even more important than that is I've gone from having that abiding sadness to having this abiding presence with me. I can feel it. I can feel Mother Mary's energy with me all the time. I know she has my back. So yes, it's lovely to have dramatic things happen. People throw down their crutches and amazing things. Absolutely. But I actually think for most of us, knowing that she's there, it's not your imagination, that if a life situation comes up that's challenging for you, you know you're going to be okay. You know that things are going to work out. You know that. How do you know? Because you just talked to her, because she just told you what you needed to hear, because she's guiding you and she's acting as your personal guide. francisfaden.com/inner circle if you want to have that type of support. All right, my friend. Well, I hope that you are enjoying these miracle stories of Mother Mary. I could just spend the whole rest of my time on my podcast talking about them because I love talking about them so much. I highly recommend do whatever you can to get yourself in her presence as often as you can, whether you want to go to a church, whether you want to go out in nature, connect with her and consciously draw her to you, and then pay attention, because most people have a hard time recognizing the response. It's why it's fun and it's helpful to have somebody who can help you with that. So I would love to know if this story resonated with you, or if you have your own miracle story. You can leave a comment down below, and it will be in the show notes where you can sign up if you choose to take one of the remaining 3 spots. Remember, my friend, the key to magnifying your miracles is knowing. your miracle, it's already here. God bless you, my friend. Bye-bye.